Hi, welcome to today's lesson covering graphics and visual elements in Microsoft Word. This lesson is called W5.18 Desktop, and in it we will use a variety of drawing tools to create a picture of a desktop. So the things that we're going to focus on in this lesson are inserting a picture and resizing a picture, rotating a picture, using layout options, and applying a border to a picture or a frame to a picture. Clip art was once only available to graphic designers, but it has become a common tool for all computer users. Clip art is any non-photographic image and was at one time only available in print. As technology improves and desktop publishing becomes more popular, a person no longer needs to physically clip the image from a book to copy it. And yes, that's how we got the term clip art. Clip art can be found directly in your word processing application or searched for on the internet. Pictures can also be inserted into a document and resized, rotated, and arranged. So to start off in this lesson, let's go ahead and open up a new Word document. And we're going to go ahead and save it, Shift-Command-S, W5.18 Desktop, with your own last name and first initial. Make sure the destination field says your BIM Word folder. And then you will be ready to go. You'll come back up in here, put your 4 lines of header in the top, and then we are set. So the first item of business after naming and putting your header in would be to change the page orientation to landscape. We did this with the last assignment, W5.17. We come up here to the Layout tab and the Orientation icon, and we choose Landscape. The next item on our directions is to change the document margins to narrow. We did this also on the last assignment, where we come here, still under the Layout tab, Margins, and from 1 inch all the way around to 1/2 inch all the way around. And you see how this goes closer to the edge of the paper. So I'm going to hit Command S because I try to save as I go along. And on the directions next, it's going to say create and format a document using clip art. So the first thing we're going to do, just like the previous assignment, is to insert a cube shape, and it will represent a desk. So in this case, we'll go to the Insert tab, we'll go back to Shapes, and starting with that same cube shape, we're going to put one here into this picture. Now the size of this right here says 3.5 inches high and 9 inches wide. I'm still here with the Shape Format tab because it's still selected here. And I'm going to say 3.5 inches high and 9 inches wide. So we have this rather large block of, looks like a blue stick of butter sitting there. I'm going to move it down to the lower part of my page because we're going to put things on top of this desk. And so I want to go ahead and put it a little bit lower there. This page represents your typical piece of paper that's 8.5 inches by 11. So you can see that when this is 9 inches wide, it takes up most of the piece of paper. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to change the view to page width so we can be a little closer to this and see what's going on. Now under 5B it says choose your own choice of fill color. It comes with this blue, and under Shape Format, if you want to stick with blue, please choose a different color of blue. But while we're doing this, you see you can pick one of these colors, and it's brown if you're looking for like a wood-looking desk. You can also come in here and choose a gradient. And what this does is you see there's light to dark. And so something like this would be useful Say if there was a window giving light on this side of the room, this side of the desk would be a little darker. So that's kind of how that's added in there. And let's see here, our choice of fill color. The other thing is you can come down here, not just gradient, but you can say texture. And all these different textures that you can pick from. There's kind of like a marble looking desk. You can come down here and there's even a wood grain that you could use. While we're looking here, coming into texture, there is more textures as well. And they're going to get serious. They're going to put up a sidebar here for us. And while we've been going through these, what is pattern fill? This will give you a pattern. If you want a pink polka dot desk, there it is, okay? But what you'll have to do is the foreground is going to be the design color. And so you could do, if you were going to go with pink and purple, you could do a purple checked. Whoo, that hurts the eyes, okay? And then the background, which is white right now, see now you have a pink and purple desk. And if you go with the polka dot idea, you see how that can go. So the sky's really the limit on what you want to do. For this particular demonstration, I'm going to keep it simple and hopefully not so painful on the eyes. And I'm going to leave it in this brown color. And the next step on our directions is to do the outline. You see the outline is also defaulting on blue. So I'm going to click on that desk. They want us to select black and 1 point in weight. So right next to the shape fill icon, there's a shape outline box. I can choose black, and then I can come down here and make sure the weight is at 1 point. Now, if I had a busier texture or color going on here, see, I could go up to 4 point, and that would come in handy had I picked something darker and busier. That would give me an idea of how that looks. But once again, I can stick with the instructions because I'm going to keep it simple today. All right, place the cube in the lower half of your page. I already did that. And that brings us to the top of the second page. And this is where it gets interesting. So we're going to search the internet for clip art of the following items, typically found on someone's desk. And we can use the picture below as an idea guide. So here we see kind of the bluer desk with some gradient going on. And then I have these 5 items on here. Well, right here is a list of the things that need to be included: a laptop, eyeglasses, pencil holder, and a coffee mug. The 5th item is this little picture right here, and we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, what I would like you to do is take a look at these red boxes again. Because we need to use ping files to put our things on the desk. Typically, if you're going to just pick any old picture off the internet, it may come with a white background. And when you put it on the desk, it's not going to look like it's actually sitting on the desk. So we need to make sure that we use ping images, which typically have a transparent background. And I'm going to show you how to search for those. But I wanted you to notice this on the instructions so you can refer back to it. We will also need to know a few other things about how to layer these, where you see the glasses are kind of in front of that picture. All of these items are definitely in front of the cube that we put on there, or on the top of it. So this is how to layer objects, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then wrap text is important because this is a quirky little thing we have to do with shapes and pictures in Word in order to be able to move them where we want to and resize them and get them just right. So this is, again, 3 really important things that you'll need to know in how to group and arrange items. But first of all, let's talk about ping images. And to do that, I will need to go back up to the internet, and we're going to do a little search. And the first search I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it in this order. I'll say if I start with the coffee mug. Coffee, okay, cup, clip art. Okay, and so this comes up. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on the images for coffee cup. So notice that clip art is typically drawn. If I had just put in coffee cup by itself, I would get more realistic images. And it's not always 100% one way or the other. You see, I do have some clip art included in here. And right now, that's the way it works. It's kind of hit or miss what you get. But the difference between the clip art and the realistic images is just you putting in the word clip art. I will say this. On this example right here on your instructions, all of this is clip art. It was all drawn, okay? And the one I'm going to do, I think I'm going to just stick with like the real photographic images. They're a little more realistic. Either way, choose which one you're going to do, because like it is when you're watching a cartoon with Bugs Bunny and maybe he gets something in his mailbox that is actually a real life photograph, you see how out of place that gets and how it looks. And that's kind of like this too. So whatever you decide to do either all clip art or all these realistic images. But the rule as far as a ping file remains the same. And I'll tell you how to tell the difference. Typically, we would be searching for these images. We could say, okay, I need a transparent background. Transparent or transparent background, either way. It does not necessarily mean that these are all ping files. In fact, I can tell you out of this first row, the only ping file with a truly transparent background is going to be this first one. How do I know that? When I click on this image, these are all thumbnails. So I can see that this was white here behind it. But when I look at its preview, I see that I have this gray and white checkerboard thing going on. I can also tell by taking this preview image and holding it over, you see there is no white background or any other background when I hold it up against a darker image. Okay? By the way, that's how we get it over there, is to click and drag. This other image has a background. It looks like it could be a ping file. When I move it over, notice you can see the white behind it, can't you? All right, let's see if we can find one that's masquerading as one. This one is a ping file because it's white here and it is checkerboard here. This one is not. It's white here, true, but it's also white here in the preview. So when I bring it over here, see, it's white. So it's not going to lend itself well to that. So I'm going to look for a true JPEG image. A ping image. And so once I get it over here, notice I can't move it around. You know, I could move my cube around, but I can't move this image around. And this is what I was talking, a curious thing. I can put a picture over here in a Word document, but then I have to actually access my shortcut menu and say wrap text. And I can say in front of text, and I can now move it around. So if I go back to this, let's see, let me undo that just a little bit. Okay. Notice when I come in here to the picture format, and I have this clicked on, and I should be able to bring forward and bring backward. I can't even do that. And here again, the wrap text feature is right here. I'm going to bring this over a little bit because a lot of times when your screen is wider, you'll be able to see it. Picture format, arrange. These are not even an option. You have to do the in front or behind text. If I do behind, it'll stay behind the desk, which is fine. But since I want it in front of anyway, I guess I'll just go ahead and say in front of. And the funny thing is not only does that make it movable, it also opens up this bring forward or send backward feature. So it's a curious thing I can't explain right at the moment, but I will say that wrap text does allow you to be able to move an item around. And I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit more proportional to the size desk I have. And that looks about the right size to be sitting on that desk. And so now I'm going to move on with the rest of the items that I need. I will tell you one of the most annoying things to try and find in a ping file is eyeglasses. And here's why. When I pull these up, and it doesn't matter if I've told it to be transparent or not, when I look at these, even if I can find a ping file, and let me show you how to narrow your odds on that while we're at it. When you go through all these and you cannot find anything that is actually a ping file, where it's white here and it's got the checkerboard behind it, you can kind of force the issue by up here in your searching, you go into settings, you say advanced search, and you just go on down past all these other things. Go down here to file type and say ping. So it's going to look for the ping files first, hopefully, and we'll say array advanced search. Now you'll still have some issues here because look, yes, this is a ping file. It's white and it's got the checkerboard, but look at the glasses. The lenses are still opaque. I can see the earpieces that are visible, but if I brought this over here to the desk, look at that. They're opaque. It doesn't, if I can see those earpieces, I should be able to see the brown through there. And I can set it down. I can move it in front, but you see, you can't see anything through it. So what I need to do then is continue my search until I find a pair of glasses where those checkerboard are coming through. It's white on the thumbnail, but it's checkerboard on the preview. And that's how I know that that is going to be a true ping file. Now, to be quick on some of these, I would just go to picture format. You have the ability to go ahead and wrap the text. And what I typically do when things come in this big is I'll just come up to the measurements and I'll just say 1 inch, just so it's a little more manageable. And then I'll fine tune the proportion once I get it there. So all I'm going to do is go through and get the rest of my items. I need a pen holder, I believe, is one of the items that I need. And so I'll keep down here, I'll look at it. Yep, that's a ping, so I'll take this over here. And once again, it's whopping big. I don't need it that big, so I'm gonna say 1 inch. And that brings it down to size. I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to wrap the text so I can move it. And it's probably gonna be a little bigger than that. Okay, I'll set it on the edge here. The other thing that I need to have is a computer, but I'm going to say laptop because it's smaller and it'll probably be easier to put on my desk. So I have a couple different options here. Let's see if they're actually ping files. Yes, that one is. Oh, I have this one here. These are all good candidates for being what I can put on my desk. Did it go? Yes, it did. Okay, so once again, I'm going to bring this down to 1 inch so I can deal with it. I'm going to wrap the text. And then I'm going to bring it to the desk. And I can make it so it looks like it belongs here on this desk. So, and then I can play with it a little bit. I have these 4 items now, and I can actually, you see the glasses, I can turn a little bit. I can make sure that they actually are in front, so it looks like they left them just kind of half on, half off. I can bring the coffee a little closer, because got to have that coffee close by. And then the pen holder, is it big enough? Probably. I'm looking at the scissors where you put your hands versus where you put your hands on a coffee cup. So maybe not. Maybe we'll make it a little smaller. Okay. That's proportion. So everything is kind of, you know, as much as I would love to have a coffee cup that big, it's not in proportion. Besides that, I'd be wired for, 4 months. But anyway, so I have all these things going on. I have these 4 items. But there's the fifth item about this picture. And we've gone through all this, move and rotate the images, and get them all proportional. The last thing is find a photograph of a person or pet and insert it on your page like you did for the clip art. Now here's a fun thing that you can do. If you have a picture on your MacBook of you and your friends, or a pet, or your family, you can use that. I did one here a while back, open recent, let's see, maybe it was this one, where I used this picture of my cat that is sitting on my desk even as I speak, the real live picture of the cat. And I just happened to have it on my computer and I could throw it into my picture that way. If you don't have a picture like that that you want to use, you could come in and say, okay, what's your pick, say like a dog. Let's see, is that how you spell it? Say a dog breed. There you go. And it could be like a picture that someone would have of their pet on their desk. Yeah, I think I'll go with that one. Okay. So what I've done is I've just gotten the picture and I am going to drag that picture over to my document just like I did with all the clip art. I'm going to shut this down because we're done with it. And of course, the first thing I want to do is get the size under control. So once again, I'll take it down to 1 inch. And then I'm going to do the wrap text thing. So I can put it down here. You know, if I wanted to, I could probably make it the screensaver on their computer, but I'm not gonna. So I'm going to basically just kind of maybe pull it down to a regular size. So that's about the size they would have there on their desk. And you could just leave it like that, but it looks like it's kind of pasted on there. You could come in and select it and do just a regular border around it. But again, there's no real depth to it. So the best thing that you can do here under picture format, we have this thing called quick styles. And if your screen is actually even wider, it does extend out a little bit more. And you have all these picture frames in here. And these are kind of fun because like this one, it would put it in an oval. How about a white oval? So, you know, if it was hanging on the wall, that'd be kind of cool. You could make it so it's crookedly hanging on the wall. My favorite for this particular exercise is to use this one in the middle of the lower row. If you want a black frame or if you want a white frame, either one. But look, when you set it down on the desk, there's actually a reflection like it's coming off the desk. That's the white version, there's the black version. But it actually looks like a photo frame. Okay. Speaking of shadows, and I will pause here for a moment and say, this right here is the base that you need to get an A for this assignment. You have these 4 elements and you have a picture that's been put into a picture frame on the desk. The sizes and all that are proportional. This would be what an A looks like. Okay. The rest is going to be bonus information I'm going to give you. Because this has this reflection here, I start looking at this and I'm like, you know, these look like they're pasted on too. How do I make it look like it's sitting? This coffee cup actually came with a bit of a shadow on it, but this did not. I can come up here to picture format and under the effects, right here, I think it is, yes, picture effects. I can come in here and there is actually a shadow. There's also a reflection, and you can tell it to have a reflection. That one may not work so well, but the shadow sure will. You see here on this picture how the reflection comes straight out? I can do that with the shadow too. This one comes straight out. And it looks like I'm going to have to actually take that off and say no reflection. But see, now that shadow's there, it actually looks like it might be sitting on the desk. I can do that with these glasses as well. Come in, put a shadow, and now it's sitting on the table. This MacBook looks like it came with a shadow, but I can double check and see if a little added wouldn't help. It gives your picture a little bit more depth to it. Even the coffee cup could use a little more. So there is that. And then if you want to get really carried away, I'm going to back this out to one page. You can come in like we did on the spring scene and design and add a page color to it. So I painted the walls blue. And I may want to come down here and insert a rectangle. Okay, and then for the fill shape, I may just do gradient, or I could do, yeah, something like that. And I can put it down here, and I can say, send it to the back. Whoops, to the back, please. And now it looks vaguely like it's sitting on carpet. I would probably need to get rid of the outline. But it kind of looks like it's sitting on carpet, maybe. And then, of course, I can always go online and add other things. I did have another file earlier that I went a little crazy with. And you see I brought in a chair. I made the floor to look like marble. I added a window. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do with this. That's up to you. If you want to play around and get really good at it, I'm all for that. But as far as the basics go, this is what you need. And thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in class.